Hi YouTube! Yeah, so this is the JOYO BANTAMP here, which I did a video for, but I ended up talking too much to actually do a sort of my usual loopy jam type thing, so this will be a bonus video or something. Couple of housekeeping things. Oh, like and subscribe, since I meant to say that at the start of videos. Yes, there was a thing on the back which I wasn't sure what it was. It's an aerial for the Bluetooth, and the other thing was because I went to done that when I was uploading the video. I watched some. I looked up the manual to see what it did. So the wee funny socket, which I wasn't sure, which I said it was some sort of coaxial thing, is a wee aerial for the Bluetooth. I don't think it's for a guitar amp though. Like, you know, I was saying, oh, maybe you can get a Bluetooth socket, you know, like just a jack socket with a transmitter on it. I don't think that. Maybe you can get that, but I think it's more for playing your laptop or your phone or iPad or whatever through it. I think that's what it's for. Also, I was talking about, I watched a wee bit of it back, talking about the ohmage things. Maybe listen to someone who knows a bit more than me about it. But I mean, I still stand by. I was saying it's like, oh, it's 99% as good if you use the thing, but it says in the manual if you run it into like a 16-ohm cabinet, it'll work fine, but you'll not get full power. So there you go. To be honest, I don't even know what cabinet size that 3x12 is. I think it's a 12. I think it's a 16, but I'm not sure. It might be an 8. It's more likely to be an 8, isn't it? Because then if you get an 8, you can use 2 8s and it makes it 16. So it's more likely to be an 8, so it's probably right. Anyway. So if you never watched the first video and I forget to put it up there, I'm playing through a 3x12 Trace Elliot. It is a guitar cabinet. I can't remember what kind of... Celestial Greenbacks in it. G12 something. Good ones. I am running it through my pedal board first, which currently it's just the reverb that's on. So obviously you do get a bit of capacitance and all that. So it's not, I'm not going straight into the amp, but... But I was going to have a wee bit of a jam, a jam barugo with it. Can I double the speed of them? Listen to this for 10 minutes or however long I end up playing this for. This is a bonus video, so I can play as long as I want, can't I? Single coil. Neck humbucker. I'm just not good at playing up high, but I don't know if I've mentioned this before about this guitar. This is the Corker, which obviously you'll have one of these of. See, when you're playing it up here, it's got a really crazy neck joint, but see there? There's a wee triangular bit which you put your thumb on when you're playing up high. It works really well, but that's what the neck joint looks like. You're kind of like, that doesn't... It looks cool. But I didn't get it, but someone's thought about that. So you've got like, you kind of like got a pad to put your thumb on, so when you're playing up high, right up to the 23rd fret. Yes. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to stick some bass on that, because I want to. Really, that's how it goes. So I don't know. I might even. I don't know what the temperature's like in here, like it was last time I played. I wonder if it's still in tune. Bass amp. And luckily I had the tuner on anyway, so it kind of worked. Oh, it's that funny light that I've got on has making this look a bit bluer than it does normally. Is it loud enough? Let's see. I'm not using the BANTAMP for this, by the way. I've got the drums are coming through the Marshall bass amp, as is the bass. Got a stereo pedal, yeah. I'll regret putting that bass line on. I wish I'd run through it twice so I could have two bass lines. You know, like an up and a down. It's just going to sound better when I use a bit more distortion, get a bit more full amp. So this is me going back through the BANTAMP. Rat pedal on. Now we're going the JOYO British sound into the JOYO amp. Distortion. No tone. Things I forgot to say as well is that I said there was probably several versions of this. This is the BLUEJAY, which is Blues Overdrive. There is also there's like a high gain one. I can't remember what it's called. There's one called, I think it's called the Atomic, which is a British classic, British heavy metal or something like that, which is probably, to be honest, the one I would have chosen if I was getting them. But not seen as that's for Jen's blue speaker cabinet, I would probably have bought that one purely on the colour. But that's maybe when I was messing about with the distortion earlier on. It doesn't go super distorted. It goes super bluesy overdrive sound, and it's like, that's why. So I'd imagine if you get the high gain one, actually, we'll see what happens if you stick a Strat in. I'm going to have to bear with me a couple of minutes while I talk here, while I tune this up, because this has been hanging on the wall since before I went away. I don't think I've played it. I'll maybe do another wee plug for Fast Fret, because we're sponsored by Fast Fret. We're not. Fast Fret, if you don't know what Fast Fret is, it's obviously you can't read it now because I've covered it in stickers, but it's just this. It's covered in stickers. It's like a wee brush thing that you get. This is an old one, a vintage one, so it's got a wooden thing, but it lasts forever. It's kind of impregnated with some sort of mineral oil or something, which kind of makes your strings a bit less slippy and kind of makes them not rust as much. There'd be no point in being sponsored by Fast Fret, to be honest, because you get as much as this as you want, and it's like, why would I need more than one of these? I've had this for about 10, 15, 20 years or something. 10 years anyway. It's just handy, makes it slippy, so I totally recommend that. If Fast Fret want to give me some money, or if they make anything else, go for it. I don't think the word works like that. It's in tune. 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 I kind of want to leave that just slightly sharp just because... So I touch in. As it kind of expected, it kind of sounds similar to what that the corker did, because I'm just thinking because it's yeah, this is an expensive guitar as well. Again, as soon as you go into this is a very similar profile here as the corker does, or the corker's got a very similar one to a Strat. When you get up here, it gets fatter though. Like all guitars do, apart from the corker. It stays at this profile here. It gets wider this way, but it doesn't get deeper that way. It stays the same. Maybe that's something to do with that that funny neck joint I was talking about. Maybe that's why that's there, because it needs more mass at the bridge. I don't really know. Whatever it is. So actually thinking about it, well, yeah, I was using the in-between sounds on that. This doesn't have in-between sounds. There's an awful good guitar, this. It might not be as loud. This has got very vintagey pickups in it. The original ones, but... Bridge. And this is so vintage it doesn't even have positions 2 and 4, so you have to kind of find them, wedge them in the middle between the two sounds to get. I don't want to stay there. And 4, if it just stays there. But I kind of left it as a 3-way because I kind of like the idea of it. It's forcing me to use, generally in a Strat. Before, pre this one, I was very much stuck on the neck pickup, position 4 and position 2, whereas this one doesn't have the position 2 and 4, so we've got the neck pickup, or the middle pickup, or the bridge pickup, so it's kind of forcing me to use them, which I like. Keeps it vintage correct. This is from... we don't really know. There's I think the Ibanez catalogue is missing from the year that it's got the bullet truss rod. There are some, so I think it's maybe late 70s, 77, 78, something like that. And it's basically the Fujigen built. You'll get it with, this is actually branded Tempest if you've not seen it before, which were an Australian importer, but you can get these with, I'm saying I've never seen the exact same one, but I've seen 99% the same one, Brad Stantoria and CSL, and in Britain and in America you'll have, I can't, Crown is one, and Hutchison's, something like that. You know, they're basically all these companies, including Ibanez, bought them from the Fujigen factory and got their name put on them in the factory. As long as you bought enough of them. You can also get them, if you weren't buying that many of them, it probably cost you an extra couple of £2 for each one if you wanted a badge put on it, but you can, these also came unbadged. I just don't know if this is going to be loud enough. If I haven't said before, all the dials on this are on just at 12 o'clock, and I'm basically kind of just using it as a platform because I'm using it for the loop pedal. But so, you can even hear it. Is how much louder is the car? Maybe the Corker's not that much louder. think you can only hear that because it's so shrill. First pedal, but by Hendrix. Rat. I feel a wee bit going to the... Some people don't like Strats, I totally get it. I never used to get them because they are kind of shrill sounding, like a real Strat, being snobby here. Which sounds really good. I mean, it sounds great with the rat pedal, but when it's on its clean, it's just clean. How Stratty does that sound? I think what my point here, which I'm going to make, is when you're buying a Strat copy, like a normal one, like I would expect, basically probably anything right up to like an American vintage one, because this sounds kind of, it's so Stratty, they generally have different sorts of pickups to make them sound a bit more normal for any of your cheap ones, because people won't like that. They go, oh, it sounds pure thin, so customers get what the customers want, and they want a bit more rounded sounding and a bit less shrill and a bit less Stratty sounding guitar, so they can do more things. Whereas this is where it's at for me. Definitely having the Alnico or whatever it is pickups that are very low output, but they really, you have to work at them. It does clean like nothing else. It sounds amazing. They maybe show up, using sounds like this does kind of show up mistakes more often, so for a beginner, probably something like this. I mean, this is, as I said, it's a copy of a 70s Strat, I think. This is when, at the period when Japan started going, why are we copying the 70s Strats? When, if they went to the NAMM show or whatever year it was, and everyone was pure wanting the pre-CBS Strats, and they're like, why are we copying the current model of Strat? Why don't we copy the ones from the 60s? you get here. So it kind of looks, it's got the bullet truss rod, which is an improvement, and it looks like a 71 or a 72 strap, whatever it is, but it doesn't have the stupid 3-bolt neck. It's got the 4-bolt neck, and little things like that. And if the bridge on it's pure rock solid, which is, this is probably, dare say, I mean, welcome for a challenge. I mean, please do, if you've got a 70s strap, like an American 70s strap, please can have a shot of it, because I want to A/B it against this. If it's just, it might just not be, this might just be, I might just be imagining this, but if the American one is significantly better, I'll say so. I'm just honest on here. I'm wrong sometimes, but I think this is more like this is probably a better guitar than the equivalent you could have bought at the same time by Fender. There you go, said it. And it's like, I do get it that there are people who spent $2 or $3 grand on a guitar and are going, no way you picked up that, no way, well, look at it, it's not made of the right wood. And it's like, I think you'll find it is, actually. Don't mock things you haven't tried yet. I can just talk now. This is just a bonus video anyway. It's probably not a bonus video, it's probably Friday night or something. But a guy commenting on Jen's page, I think she blocked him, to be honest, it's just a dick. One of your internet people who's like up here, it's like all that paint sucking all the tone out of the guitar, and you're just like, really? Up here, makers up here. So somebody just generally asked up here. I'm wondering, is there any feedback from musicians saying, does the paint make any difference? It's like for people who actually play them. Are these just meant for hanging on the wall? Basically, was a question, or do they actually play? And does the paint make any difference? And it's like, yeah, well, I commented up here, I'll gig to them. Well, that's one of them. I'm stood next door on the bass, and I've got a few of the guitars kicking about that are actually mine, and there's a few kicking about that are I'm in the mid process of putting wires and stuff in, and no, it doesn't make any difference. But it's like, it must. And then it's like up here, you've obviously just never used high enough end equipment. You're just like, what a tit, really. If your opinion, if you don't know what you're talking about, don't pretend you know what you're talking about, because it doesn't make it. And it's the same with the wood thing as well. It might make a bit. I mean, I like a one-piece neck. This one does have a one-piece neck, does it? It does, but I mean, I'm totally willing to admit that I don't think it makes any difference whether it's got a separate fingerboard or not. I just like the idea of it, which is fine, but that's me being snootish and snobby and all that. But I do accept that I just like it because I like the idea of it being like a one piece of maple, so the fretboard and the neck are the same piece of wood. I like that. I don't know why it doesn't make any difference. I don't think it makes any difference to the sound. It's just like, that sounds pretty cool. But then again, I also like laminate necks. They're probably my favourite as well, where you get like 3 pieces of wood stuck together, because they don't warp and bend the way a single piece of maple does. To be honest, I don't think a single piece of maple does warp and bend if you use high enough quality maple, which this will be. But fun. So no, paint doesn't make. But especially if you're looking at something like this. I suppose that the argument for the nitrocellulose thin finish just makes it sound. It might, if it does make a difference, it might make a difference just now. Maybe it makes a difference there, but if you put it through an amp, there's obviously a certain amount of, even though the amp's 50 times louder than the guitar is, unplugged, there is a slight, there will be some of that sound that you're hearing there coming off the strings will be coming off it, even though I've got the amp on. Some of that sound you're hearing when it's not on is there, but it doesn't make any difference. And even if it does make a difference, does it make it better or worse? I don't know. I mean, that's sitting there, but I get it. I do get why people say it, because they spent a lot of money on getting one. I mean, look at the corker, go for it there. Look at the wood that's made of. That's walnut, which I don't know, is that a good tone wood? Don't know, but it's 1 bit. So 1 bit, one piece body, that you'll hear the difference. Bollocks, you hear the difference between a 1 piece and a 2 piece and a one that's made of strips. To be honest, I don't even think you could tell the difference if it was a plywood thing. The way it does work is, if you were to make, say you were Mr. Corker, whoever built this, did build this guitar out of, strips of pine or something, but built everything else the same, I don't think it would sound any different. But you'd never be able to sell it because people aren't going to buy. I'm not paying £1,000 for a plywood guitar. No, so you can't. And it boils down to as well, if you're trying to do that, this kind of goes into when I was making the kitchen worktop guitars. So I've got an amazing double neck, a big destroyer thing that's fantastic. It's made out of kitchen worktop, so it is actually solid ash, but it's like, it's butcher's block stuck together. It's not not that I think it would necessarily sound bad if it was like a normal kitchen worktop, which is, like plastic with chipboard in the middle. Maybe, but I made it out of that, and it was so much harder to use because it was so tough, difficult, burnt out sandpaper and all that much quicker. It'll last longer than any other guitar probably, because it's designed to be a kitchen worktop, so it's pure design, so it will not warp, it will not absorb water, it's got to span the gap between your sink and, it's got to be able to hold the sink up, basically. Hold the sink up that's that wide, and you're cutting a hole in the middle of it, so it's got to be able to hold a sink with just a strip at the front, a strip at the back. So it's stupid, but what I should have done was just spend 50 quid and buy a piece of mahogany or ash or something and made it out of that, and then the thing would be worth thousands of pounds. I didn't, so it's probably worth a couple of hundred. So there's an economies thing, which I get. And it's the same, I say the same thing about, see, like your bolt-on versus set neck Les Paul, for example. Which is better? The bolt-on's better, right, as a concept and sound and everything else, but it's more expensive to put the set neck in. So generally the guitars that have got the set neck on them will have better everything else. They'll be better built, they'll have better parts, better frets, they'll have been worked on better. Whereas if say for example Gibson did come out with a bolt-on neck Les Paul standard at $2,500, which on every single measurable way is a better guitar than the standard one, nobody's going to buy. I'm not buying a bolt-on neck. A bolt-on neck, there's no tone in a bolt-on neck. Bullshit. Absolute bullshit. I mean, if anything, it's probably better because you probably find there's a bigger contact point between there and there. The same thing goes for through neck. It's like, I've got some through neck stuff. Of course, it's lovely. That one there's through neck, actually. It's lovely having through neck, and it's like, yep, that's a cool thing. You can show your pals, That's what it's for. To a certain extent, that's what, the one piece. But I mean, again, you look at it and go, well, what's the point in having this fancy binding that goes away into nothing? It doesn't make any difference to the way it plays or sounds or functions at all. But you come around to my house, look at the way the binding does that. Oh, look at that. It's like a cake. Looks like you take a bite out of it, one piece of walnut. For that reason, totally. But that doesn't make it better. It makes it cooler and more show-offy. There's so much snobbery in these things. I'm just got a wee bit triggered, but I'd actually bit my tongue and didn't reply to the guy who was saying, you're not using... Maybe if you're just using cheap stuff, it doesn't make any difference. I use real guitars. I've got a Fender. You're just like, fuck off. Anyone who knows anything about guitars, talk to, I don't know, who's your best guitarist kicking about just now, your Steve Vais and stuff like that, and terms like that. This guitar's pretty much as good as a Fender. He's going to go, I bet it is. I bet you that's what Steve Vai would say, because he knows he's not pure, oh, no. How much did that cost? Which model is it? Oh, that's the 421. Oh, God, no. I've got a 621. Oh, it's so much better. You can hear the ash. Bullshit. All bollocks. Although I would respond to does the paint make a difference? So I suppose technically you are making the guitar heavier, for example, because you've put paint on it. You're making it an imperceivable amount heavier, but that is still heavier. So there you go. Yes. So that guitar must be heavier now than it was when it was sanded before it got the paint put on it. Which, because it's heavier, it must make a difference. Yes. But not a difference you can notice. You can actually notice a difference that I bet you think you can notice, like the placebo thing. That's what I was kind of saying that with the wee JOYO amp. If you told, I know that's not a tube amp, So I was kind of not really expecting very much. I was surprised how it's got a tube in it, but how good it does sound. Completely usable and fine, and I could easily, without even, to be honest, I kind of forgot what I was doing when I was having a jam earlier on with that. But that, what? Why am I playing? I'm playing the Corker again. Am I demoing it? No, I'm not demoing that amp. It's like, because it just sounds fucking the same as the Orange, and the Orange is like a £700-800 amp, something like that, and that's like, I think they're about 150. But, yeah. But obviously it's nice to have, if you can afford it and you like the idea of having the expensive stuff. I suppose it comes down to the same about the, like, does my Fiat Panda get you to the shops as well as like a Rolls Royce does? And it's like, well, it still gets you to the shops and you're still at the shop. It took you the same amount of time, probably was quicker than the Panda. Right. So it does the same thing, although obviously Rolls Royce is hundreds of thousands of pounds and much comfier and all that stuff, but I mean, it still just does that. So paint, nah. And even when it comes down to, if you had you need to, if you were going to measure, the guy on Jen's page actually, I was like, I bet you if you did an A/B, you would totally notice the difference with the tone, like that. So you get the guitar, you sand it down, you set it up, you play it, and then you take it to bits again, paint it, put it back together again, and you tell the difference. No. The only way that would be possible is if you put on, there's so many slight variables. Like if I put a brand new set of Rotosound 9s on this, right? Played it for, say, an hour, and then had another set of brand new Rotosounds and played them for an hour. I bet you there's a tolerance, but there's a difference between, no two E strings are identical. Of course they're not identical. Nothing's identical. So there's a difference there. Oh, you're talking rubbish. You can't hear the difference. No, I didn't say you could hear the difference. Of course you can't hear the difference unless it's broken. You know what I mean? But there is a difference. So yes, there is a difference. What the old, how fast does my car accelerate? So you measure it and then you put like a gallon of petrol in it. Oh, it doesn't make any difference. No, it does make a difference. I think you'll find. I think it makes a difference to your fuel consumption, whether you have lunch before you go. It does. It makes a difference. How do you measure it? Don't know. And it's the same like sounds as well. It's like you play guitars differently. Give me a Strat. I don't play it the same as I play a Les Paul. I don't really play a Les Paul as I play one of the other guitars. Because of what it is, you just like. You'd need a computer, some sort of mechanical device that strummed and held the chords down exactly the same pressure, which you're not doing. Strummed them at exactly the same, and I'm talking about exactly, because even the best guitarist in the world, Steve Vai, get him to play, like a couple, an A. Get him to do that a couple of times, right? And I want you to play it exactly the same every time. I bet you it's not exactly the same. It'll sound exactly the same. No, you can't tell the difference. But I bet you if you got it into Audacity and looked at the files and zoomed in enough, there would be differences. So yes, there is a difference. But no, there's no difference that you notice painting a guitar. A wee bit of a rant there. And I'm arguing about the tone wood thing as well. Yes, obviously it's lovely having tone woods. And I totally get why if you're making guitars or selling guitars, I'm not going to spend £1,000 on a guitar ever, but it's like, plywood's fine, or I don't mind basswood or mahogany and all that. Yeah, totally, that's great, especially in some of this where you can't even see it. At least in the walnut one, you can see that it's fancy. Who knows? This will be basswood. I don't even know what this is. It doesn't matter. Yeah, that's a wee bit of a rant I went into there. Yeah, no, these are a couple of guitars I didn't actually need. This one and the Telecaster, I bought them because I thought they were a really good buy, and I'll be able to flip that and double my money on it easy. And then you play it, and you go, it's a real Strat. I've got a few Strats. I've got like a couple of Japanese Fender ones, and no one's going to argue that an actual Japanese Fender. You're going to get a lot of people go, no, I think you'll find an American Fender. It's not actual. This isn't an actual Fender. No, it's not. It's maybe the same people that made Japanese Fender, but I think you'll find my Mexican Fender's as good as this. Is it? Fuck. But then you say, if this was the Japanese one, they'd go, all right, oh, the Japan. It's all snobbery and shit like that. It's really annoying. Basically, I bet you're better off. Why don't we be different? Buy a J-Pax guitar. I'm going to do a video on that Warlock, which is actually really pretty good as well. There's so much in the playing of it, and there is an element of the cheaper ones. Yes, they don't get set up the same way, but I've played quite a few Gibson Les Pauls that play like shite. Really, I mean, honestly, no matter how much you're blinded by the fact, but that's a Gibson Les Paul standard. Look at the maple cap on it, the tone maple cap. You know, it's like. So I do truly believe that people would play that and thoroughly believe that it makes a difference, but it doesn't mean it is just because that's what you think. You know, it's like, yeah. That was a bit of a rant. So I don't know when this video came out. I'll put it out at some point. I'll probably put it out at some point when I've not had time to put another video out. It'll sit in the bank. This guitar's really good. I've got such a difficult situation being able to get these guitars. Basically, it's because I'm not spending the amount of money that, you know, it's like, oh, you're sitting there blowing a couple of grand in a guitar at a time. This was 60 quid, you know, and I'm playing it, and I've got a handmade. I don't even know how, or, you know, it's like. So this one and the Telecaster, the CSL Black Telecustom, I did not need at all. But they're absolutely lovely, and the problem is that that's kind of the same for nearly all my guitars. I don't really see the point in having two guitars the same, where one is just the same but better. So mine are all kind of different somehow, but they're all ones I don't want to sell because they're really good. I really love them, apart from when I occasionally do sell them. But you can always offer me money for any one of them you want. It's just, I guess that problem when you've got just, I mean, I totally admit that I have too many guitars. There's no fighting in it. But I mean, you ask me these things, there's some that I've not fully bonded with. Like, see, even something like the Blade Runner, I've not fully bonded with that. It's an amazing guitar, but I've not really fully bonded with it because, I don't know, again, this is me being honest about this. So there is a thing about having that colour on it. I don't really like the colour, and I don't know how much of that's to do with just the idea of it, which is part there. You know, it's the idea of it, and the reason people love their Squires and their Harley Bentons and stuff is because they really like the idea of it, and that's fine. It's totally fine. If that's your thing, it's just the quality level is not what I'm too much of an engineer for these things. I know because I set them up and I work on them and stuff like that. The difference between working on this, you know, I've had to take this to bits to fix it, put it back together again. The difference between this and a 5-year-old Squire is unbelievable. As in, all the screws on this will all just be perfect and they'll all come out. And okay, that doesn't make any difference to the sound and all the bits, just everything is just built so much better. And, you know, I see guitars, I get guitars in, especially the main culprits are your Epiphones and Squires, you get them in and it's like, the screws are rusty. The thing's only 5 years old. And the screws are all rusty, you're trying to take them out and the heads come off and they chew up and you're just like, because they saved 10 pence by using cheaper screws and stuff, and it's just not worth it. What an absolute rant, 45 minutes. Rock on. So this might be Friday night or Saturday night, or it might be tomorrow, or I don't know. Or it might be in a month's time. Who knows? Rock on. Love y'all.